me the honey where they all be. Anything you tell me, I dey believe her. Showing me around like I lost.
I want to welcome you again to another day. We're talking about relationship, we're talking about marriage, and I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, has felt disappointed, felt we have failed, felt a lot of regrets in our marriages, feeling that why come did I marry this person? Who is even this person that I called my husband? Who is this person that I call my wife? Now, does this story sound familiar? Now, you met the man or the woman of your dreams. You went out for coffee, you went out to the cinema, or you went to take a meal together. You couldn't believe how easy, you guys stuck together. The two of you began to date, you began to court. You felt so alive when you are with him. And as time went on, you began to imagine what it would be like to share your life together. Then came the day you had been waiting for. You got engaged, and then sometime and stood long and blah and blah. You stood in front of family and friends and clergy, a pastor, and you vowed to love and cherish one another forever. And so that day you couldn't stop smiling that day because you knew this was just the beginning of a wonderful life, and you are going to spend with this person. Then it happened later that week, or year, or decade, you are hit with a big dose of reality. Mr. or Mrs. Perfect was not as perfect as you thought. And you began to wonder if you made a big mistake. You started to regret getting married. Now understand, first, my counseling session, my focus is on Christian. So when I'm talking about certain things, even if I'm not quoting scriptures, I'm still specific to who my audience is, Christians. Because a child of God, we have our ways, we have our principle, we have our biblical views of things. Now I'm sure what I mentioned above, has it happened to you? Now if it has, you're not alone. There are times I wonder, who is this woman that I call my wife? And recently something happened and I was so dazed and angry, wondering where is this coming from? There was some words that was uttered, there was some actions that took place, and I'm asking myself, where did this come from? I was so pissed, I was so angry. That who is this? And then the issue of regret. How can I marry? I don't know about you, but I'm sure you have felt like that. Now, because many people experience this sense of, how will I call it now? Delusion, this sense of regret, this sense of disappointment, this sense of why is this happen? Did I make a mistake? At one time or another during their marriage, and sincerely speaking, it could be very painful. As in very, very painful. Now, feeling of regrets can occur for a number of reasons. Now, I will share those reasons, and I will also try and share the way out. Maybe you had expectation for what marriage will be, like based on what your parents' marriage was like, and your spouse has different expectation. Expectation like children, expectation like money, expectation like health, expectation like romance. romance, that's a big word for it. Romance, sex, friendship, communion, communication. Perhaps you have realized you and your spouse don't share common interests. You thought you had discussed everything before getting married, but you have discovered that the two of you are very different in one or more significant areas. Some common areas for potential conflict are sex drive, money management, parental techniques, relationship with in-laws, and religion. So, those are the reasons, and many more. I can tell you, when I got married, I had issues with my in-laws, because when dating, cutting, there was no issue. We had an understanding. I laid down the basic of how I want things to be done, or how things should be done. As a matter of fact, biblical way things should be done. Till our hair, till our dress, our addressing, romance and everything, we talked about almost everything, but I found out that we didn't talk about almost everything. So, those reasons and many more that is peculiar to you. But here is this thing. With those regrets, with those reasons, there's a way out. So what can you do, or what should you do when you have regrets, when you feel like you married the wrong person, even as a child of God? Number one, remind yourself. Start by remembering. Remembering what? Remind yourself what? Why did you and your spouse marry? Think about what do you together brought, bring up those memories in conversation. Then talk about what ways you can revisit or recreate what caused you to fall in love in the first place. Most times I remind couples that love is not enough. Love can sour, love can grow, love can diminish, or love can stop being in a relationship, even a marriage. It is the responsibility of couples to work on their love life. It is the responsibility of couples to keep feeding their love life, growing, because if care is not taken, it will fizzle out. So, recreate. Don't forget. Remind yourself. Remember why you guys fell in love, how you guys fell in love. Recreate those moments. So, one, how do you remove regrets? How do you remove that sense of regret? Say, I regret marrying this person. One, and start by remembering. Remind yourself how you got, why did you and your spouse marry, how you guys fell in love. Recreate those things, those moments, those atmosphere. I always tell people, and I tell my wife, and every day, I like to create atmosphere. I like to do things to create events, loving events. So that when tomorrow comes, can look back and recreate it again and smile over it again, and all that. Number two, what can you do? A little humility goes a long way. Try to approach the situation with humility. Remember that you are not perfect either. No one is. It is likely that your spouse has noticed a few flaws in you. Humility in the sense that, come, this is what is happening. This is what is. Humble yourself. Sometimes most of the time also, I remind people about what Bible calls submission and love. There's no how. You can't submit without loving, and you can't love without submitting. And to submit or to love, it has to do with humility. Humbling oneself. I am wrong, I'm not perfect. My wife has used one word for me every now and then. I always correct that impression. I am not a perfect human being. I don't complete you. I am an imperfect man. So try to approach the situation with humility, whether you are a man or a woman. You are not perfect. So if there are flaws in place, humble yourself, talk about it. And that's another areas to which you need to, maybe it's time for an honest conversation. Talk about it. When you remember those things, talk about it. When you talk about it, then humble yourself to know, yes, I am wrong, I'm not perfect. But be honest enough to talk about it. Have an honest conversation about your expectation of marriage. Ask for your spouse what the idea of an ideal marriage is. Yes, even if you have gone 10 years, 15 years into the marriage and the things started coming up, things started cropping up. So it's not about you, maybe just started the marriage and things are coming. No. Sometimes in marriage, it may not come at the beginning of your marriage. It may come towards the end of the marriage. It may come at the middle of the marriage. So talk about it. Have an honest conversation about your expectation. Ask your spouse what the idea of an ideal marriage is and share your thoughts on the subject. Are there ideas you have in common? Build on those. Talk about it. One of the challenges I have with my own wife, I said, come, learn to talk. If you don't talk, problem there. So talk about it. Start remembering, talk about it. Honest conversation. Number 3, a little really goes a long way. Number 4, make her time. Make it a priority for you and your spouse to connect on regular basis. If your schedule are busy, at least sit down for 5 to 10 minutes before bedtime and check in with each other if you can. Communication. Go out by yourself once a week. Even if it's only for an hour at a park or a coffee shop, take a stroll together. Take turn asking how other is doing and really listen to what they say. Don't offer solution or advice unless they ask. Just listen. So it is important. Make her time. Lagos, Nigeria is so busy. But in your busy schedule, create time for your spouse, especially when things are not going the way they ought to go. Especially when we're talking about regrets in marriage. Why did I marry this person? It's like I married the wrong person. So what is the way out of regret? Start remembering how you fell in love, how you got started. Talk about it. Humble yourself to come to terms with you are not perfect. Your spouse is not perfect. Make her time. Make her time for each other. Don't forget, I am talking to Christians. So this also is important. Pray for your marriage. If you haven't already, and even if you have, take your concerns to God in prayer. Ask Him to reveal to you any ways that you may be contributing to the problems in your marriage. Ask Him to increase the love you have for your spouse. Then pray for your spouse, which is the next one I'm going to share. What is the way out of regret? Pray for your marriage. Many couples don't pray together, not to call pray for their marriage. So pray for your marriage. Pray for your spouse. Try praying together, maybe during the day, check in at bedtime. And if you and your spouse are not yet comfortable praying out aloud with each other, try holding hands as you pray silently. The person who finishes first can squeeze the other person. Find out ways to which you can pray together with your spouse. Because there's a saying, a family that prays together stays together. Way out of regret. The last one, which is important also, don't forget the things I've said before. Way out of regrets. Every one of us have regretted, have that sense of regret. Say, why did I marry? It's like I made the mistake of marrying this person. Start remembering why you married the person. Talk about it. Humble yourself to come to terms with you are not perfect. Pray for your marriage. Pray for your spouse. which is important. Create time for each other. This also is important. Before I share the last one, it is helpful to search the scriptures and read what God says about love and marriage. A good selection of passages to start with can be found in the manual of every child of God, and that's the Bible. So the next one of the way out of regret, of feeling regret, is hit the books, Christian literature books, the Bible, because they will offer guidance and encouragement for you as a child of God. And that's why I said any marriage that is not word-based, that marriage is heading towards roadblocks. Finally, stay accountable for your action. Stay accountable for your actions. Stay accountable for your actions. Consider finding an accountability partner to pray for your marriage and help to keep you on the right tracks towards the goal of strengthening your marriage. I always advise couples. There's pre-counseling session, there's post-counseling session. Many go for pre-counseling and they forget after they got married, they still need help. Unfortunately, these days now, one has to be very careful also. But I will advise prayerfully look for people that can be pastor to your marriage, that can be mentors to your marriage. It is not about how old they are, how young they are. It's about, are they qualified, are they godly, are they trained? Because some people are trained, they're not godly. Some people are godly, they're not trained. So look for the balance. If you have any question, please let me know. Don't forget, help us share. I've been talking about regrets in marriage and the way out. Many of us have felt that way before, and some of us are still feeling that way. But these are one or two ways to which you can be helped, or they can help you remove regrets in your marriage. If you have any question, please drop it at the comment box. Help us to share our content, because we believe that somebody somewhere needs to hear this. We're in a trying time in the world that one, as a child of God, the devil is fighting tooth and nail to fight your marriage. And you have to be very, very vigilant. You have to put everything in place so that you will not join the bad rank of those and say, I'm tired of this marriage. These days, people are looking for excuse to excuse themselves for their marriage, to stay single or go and look for the next person. And we all know the next person is still not a perfect human being. He or she will still make mistakes. So please help us share this content. And God will bless you in Jesus' name. Shalom.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn